Hello students, today is the fourth lecture on hygiene. I will read the lecture. My name is Baxışlı Fərəh. I am a head teacher on Department of General Hygiene and Ecology. The topic of our lecture you can see on monitor: soil as biosphere object, mechanical, chemical and physical parameters of soil, the hygienic meaning, the influence of chemical composition of soil on man health and quality of medicine plants, autopurification of soil, sanitary protection of soil. What is a soil? Soil is a self-regulating natural biological system, being the top fertility layer of a lithosphere. It has non-uniform thickness in diverse places, from several centimeters up to 2 meters. Soil fertility depends on presence of nutrients, air, water, and thermal regimens of area. This characteristic of soil case is meant for society to provide people with food. For this reason, the soil is named as breadwinner. The soil structure includes various chemical substances. They get to human organism by foodstuff and drinking water. Studying of soil, its estimation on various parameters can be divided into 4 stages. First, the before-Pasteur period till 1852. The central moment of this period is local theory of Pettenkofer, which considered that all epidemics closely coordinate this mechanical structure of ground, the maintenance of carbonic gas and quantity of organic substance. Not suspecting about activators of infection diseases, it has put forward some indirect parameters of a sanitary condition of ground. Creation of local theories has caused a wave of improving actions in all countries of Europe. In Russia, the first works on studying ground belong to Dobroslavin, who studying ground of area on St. Petersburg. The second, the post-Pasteur period, which has begun into opening of Pasteur 1852 and captured the whole century. This period is characterized by intensive studying of a chemical compound of ground, studying of all alive that was found out in ground. During this period, there was a doctrine for biochemical provenance and epidemiological value of soil is finally investigated. Third, the third period 1852 up to 1872 is characterized by underestimation of soil, problems of its protection. The fourth, the period since 1872 to our time, it is characterized by studying of ground as a factor determining its paramount value in circulation of chemical substances, industrial enterprises connected to emission and motor transport. During this period, the thought of normalization of chemical substances in ground has found substantiations. On this slide, you can see role of soil in the life and formation of human health. What is the hygienic value of soil? The first, the person lives lives on the soil. Grow food in soil. Soil determines the composition of these products. To extract water from the soil. Grow green space on the ground. Soil climate plays a role in the formation and climate areas. Soil participated in the purification populated areas of water. Object of hygienic studying and estimation of a sanitary condition can be two kinds of soil. Naturally formed ground outside of the occupied places. These sites can be used for building or in other economic purposes. Artificially formed soil of populated area mixed with the waste products of ability to live of the person, its reasonable and unreasonable economic activity that the cultural layer of ground of the occupied places is united under the term. On these slides, you can see factors affecting on soil formation. Natural, it's the volcanoes, landslides, earthquake, decay, oxidation of organic substances, and anthropogenic. What is the anthropogenic? Is the cultivation, construction works, water pollution. On monitor you can see soil. What's the soil? It is the most superficial layer of it is. Consists the parent rock, organic substances, living organism, air and water. What is the subject of a sanitary and hygienic estimation of soil? Firstly, parameters of a chemical compound of soil ground is a maintenance macro and micro elements, cells and their influence of change of a chemical compounds, of foodstuff and water. Second, ability of soil to autopurification. Third, the epidemiological role of soil described. First, A. Survival rate and ground of pathogenic bacteria dispute both vegetative forms, bacillus and viruses. B. A role of ground as an intermediate environment of development elements. And C. A role of ground in development of phylis from larvae up to mature individuals. And on this slide you can see horizons of soil and you can see different layers. And now I bring to you attention an interesting video material about soil structure that I have prepared. Please, you can see.
Is essential. You walk on grass rooted in soil and eat food grown in soil. Plants and trees need it to grow, but what is soil composed of? Welcome to Ümumi Math and Science and Soil. If you look at a chart of soil, you'll see that it is made up of 45% minerals, 5% organic matter like decaying plants and animals, 25% water, and 25% air. You can also study soil by looking at its profile and the soil horizon. A vertical layer of soil that shows all of the different layers is the soil profile. Much like your profile on Facebook, it tells others all about you. The profile of the soil tells all about the soil. A soil horizon is each individual layer of the profile. Each layer has different physical properties. The horizon layers are O, A, E, B, C, R. Let's take a look at what each layer is made up of. The O layer, or horizon, is also called the litter. It's composed and contains dead leaves, twigs, sticks, fallen trees. The O horizon is thin in some soils, thick in others, and not present at all in some types. The A horizon is also called the topsoil. It contains rich organic matter along with some minerals. This layer contains decomposers. The decomposers perform the task of breaking down plants and animals. The remains of these plants and animals create a mixture called humus, which is dark organic material that forms in soil when plant and animal matter decays. E is also called the alluviated layer. As water moves down the soil, substances are removed and pulled out in this layer, resulting in a concentration of sand and silt particles. This layer may be missing in some soils. Horizon B is called the subsoil. It's lighter in color. Many times it's reddish or brown in color because it has less humus. It is a zone of accumulation where materials like clay collects from the movement of water downward. C horizon is the parent material. This layer contains much of the material that the soil was originally made from. It will contain rock fragments. Weathering breaks down the parent rock into smaller and smaller pieces of rock, and this layer is most often light in color. And then horizon R is the bedrock, a massive rock such as granite, basalt, or quartzite, limestone or sandstone that forms the parent material for some soil. If you'd like to know more about soil, this playlist will help.
What is the hygienic meaning of soil composition and characteristics? The soil is composed of firm particles and free spaces between them, filled by air or water. The soil particle with diameter more than 3 mm are stones and gravel. From 1 up to 3 mm, coarse sand and less 1 mm, fine sand, clay, dust, and ozone. From the hygienic point of view, it is important to know the basic properties of soil. These properties are porosity, air and water permeability, moisture capacity, capillarity, temperature, soil organism. What is a soil? What is a porosity? Total volume of pores in unit of soil volume shown in percentage. The filtration ability of soil depends on these characteristics. The more porosity, the less filtration. For example, at sandy soil it makes 40% and at turfy 82%. The best condition for the processes of self-purification is porosity 60-65%. What is the air permeability? Soil ability to let pass the air. It depends on size of soil pores. It rises at high atmospheric pressure and decreases in accordance with soil layer thickness and moisture. High air permeability is a favorable hygienic characteristic because it makes for soil aeration with oxygen needed for oxidation of organic substances. Water permeability, other name is filtration ability, soil ability to absorb and let pass the water coming with the atmospheric precipitation. This property is important for forming of soil water and its resource in underground aquifer. Soil moisture. moisture volume kept by soil due to substantive and capillary power. The less pores are more moisture capacity. Capillarity, soil ability on water lifting by capillaries from deep layers to top. The more pores, the more capillarity. The temperature of soil, case of temperature of atmospheric surface layer on thermal condition of premises, first floor and basement, and also on vital activity of soil microorganisms and processes of soil self-purification. The soil heating degree by sun depends on the latitude, area relief, season, time of day, and others. What's the soil organism? The various representatives of soil, flora and fauna are natural soil inhabitants. The number of its changeable and depends on soil composition, temperature regime, insolation, mechanical operation. The soil flora is fungi, algae, bacteria and viruses. The soil fauna is protozoa, nematodes, pingers, larvae, and chrysalises of file, earthworm, mole, rats, and others. Soil organisms have direct and indirect influence of soil condition, stimulating the process of self-purification and increasing fertility. At the same time, some rodents pollute soil and water by leptospirosis. Pingers are carried of transmissible diseases, for example, encephalitis. On this slide, you can see the chemical composition of soil and its role in public health. First, organic substance 1 up to 10% and mineral 90 up to 99%. Which function of organic substance? First is humus, remains of vegetation, leaf microorganisms, remains of extinct animal and others. What's the mineral? Almost all elements and their connections of the periodic system. On this slide, you can see the soil. What is the soil as a factor of epidemiological risks? The soil is a natural collector of solid and liquid wastes of human and animal vital activity. And these wastes can contain the agents of various diseases. So the epidemiological role of soil, it may be the transmission cause of intestinal, for example, typhoid fever, dysentery, cholera, etc. Anaerobic, for example, tetanus, botulism, gas gangrene. Dust, for example, tuberculosis. Virus, it's a poliomyelitis, infection diseases. Zoonotic is anthrax, glanders, brucellosis, geohermantosis, the ascariasis, enterobiosis, ankylostomiasis, and etc. The ways of invasion by this infection are: the first is direct contact way, through ingress of soil on wood surface, for example, wound infection, tetanus, and gas gangrene, of dirty hands, and in direct way through the polluted soil, water, food, animals, insect vector, mainly through files. Also, the soil is natural habitat for a great circle of insects, and you can see can fight several types of infection agents and helminthosis in soil in this table. For example, on this table, you can see maximum stay in the soil pathogens of self-infection diseases and helminthic eggs. For example, it's very long period you can see of some parasitic diseases. For example, maximum stay in cell of typhoid fever only 1-2 months, but maximum stay in the soil of tularemia is 9 months, maximum 9 months. On monitor, you can see soil-borne bacterial diseases. The first is anthrax. Anthrax is an infection by bacteria Bacillus anthracis, usually transmitted from animals. Anthrax causes skin, lung, and bowel diseases and can be deadly. Anthrax is diagnosed using bacterial cultures from infected tissues. There are 4 types of anthrax: cutaneous, inhalation, gastrointestinal, and injection. Second is tetanus. Tetanus is a serious disease caused by a bacterial toxin that affects your nervous system, leading to painful muscle contraction, particularly of your jaw and neck muscles. Tetanus can interfere with your ability to breathe and threaten life. Tetanus is commonly known as lockjaw. The third is gas gangrene. Gas gangrene is known as Clostridium menicrosis, and menicrosis is a bacterial infection that produces tissue gas in gangrene. This deadly form of gangrene usually is caused by Clostridium perfringens bacteria. About 1,000 cases of gas gangrene are reported yearly in the United States. Menicrosis is a condition of necrotic damage specific to muscle tissue. It is often seen in infection with Clostridium perfringens or any of myriad soil-borne anaerobic bacteria. And bacteria cause menicrosis by specific exotoxins. Next is leptospirosis. Leptospirosis is a blood infection caused by the bacteria Leptospira. Signs and symptoms can range from known to mild, for example, headaches, muscle pain, and fever, to severe, for example, bleeding in the lungs or meningitis. Wells disease, the acute, severe form of leptospirosis, causes the infected individual to become jaundiced, skin and eyes become yellow, develop kidney failure, and bleed. Bleeding from the lungs associated with leptospirosis is known as severe pulmonary hemorrhage syndrome. And last, it's listeriosis. It's a bacterial infection most commonly caused by Listeria monocytogenes. Also, bacteria Ivanovi and bacteria grayi have been reported in certain cases. Listeriosis can cause severe illness, including severe sepsis, meningitis, or encephalitis, sometimes resulting in lifelong harm and even death. Those at risk of severe illness are the elderly, fetuses, newborns, and those who are immunocompromised. In pregnant women, it may cause stillbirth or spontaneous abortion, and preterm birth is common. Listeriosis may cause mild, self-limited gastroenteritis and fever in anyone. On this slide, you can see a picture of soil infection, for example, tetanus, gas gangrene, tetanus. You can see different pictures. When we talk about bacteriological examination of soil, it's very important now determination of microbial number, determination of coli titer, determination of Clostridium perfringens titer, determination of presence of pathogenic microbes, determination of presence of helminths eggs. What is a coli titer? Is the least quantity of soil where the colibacillus is revalid. The coli titer is expressed in grams. The value of coli titer is inverse proportional to the level of soil population. Coli index is a quantity of colibacillus revealed in 1 kilogram of soil. Coli index is determined by calculation of gross bacterial clumps after soil inoculation. Coli index is in proportion to level of soil pollution. Coli index could be converted into coli titer. Divide 1000 by coli index and vice versa to get coli index 1000 could be divided by coli titer. And Clostridium perfringens titer is also determined. It is a spore-forming anaerobe constantly living in an intestine. Its spores stay intact in soil long time. Therefore, the presence of Clostridium perfringens spores in sample is an evidence of fecal pollution of soil and means that this pollution took place for a long time. Chemical composition of soil. Now it is established that in an organism of the person contains about 60 various chemical elements that makes about 0.6% from gross weight. Presence of microcells even in small amounts, is constantly connected to their role in mastering nitrogen and photosynthesis. Only for maintenance of normal structure of blood of the person, it is necessary about 25 microcells, and into structure of chest milk of them enters more than 30. The degree of security of vegetative and animal organisms' microcells is in direct dependence on their presence in an Earth's crust. This moment was specified for the first time by academician Vernadsky. On the basis of this, Vinogradov has created the doctrine about abnormal biochemical provinces, their absence or surplus of this, or that element results in occurrence endemic diseases. Other names is biochemical endemic. As a result, economic activities of the person in ground directly the huge quantity of chemical substances that can change its chemical compound essentially gets. All chemical substance getting in ground, it is possible to divide two groups. The chemical substance grows in ground systemically, purpositively organized, for example, pesticides up to 100,000 tons in 1 year, mineral fertilizers, nucleators of soil, growth stimulants on plant, etc. Only in case of superfluous their entering into ground, they become pollutants. Last years, as a result of economical development, the vast quality of chemical agents and compounds get to the soil directly or indirectly. It keys to forming of artificial biochemical provinces. For example, the maximum permissible concentration of lead, manganese, vanadium, fluorine, copper, nickel, cobalt, pesticides, radioactive nuclides, and their harmful substances close to big cities and the large centers of ferrous and non-ferrous metallurgy, chemistry, and petrochemistry are exceeded 10 times more. The soil contains mineral compounds, organic and mineral organic compounds, humus, microorganisms, soil water, and soil air. And on these slides you can see endemic diseases develop as a result of excess or lack of receipt relative to physiological norm of a chemical element in the body. For example, you can see on this table name of pathology, for example, endemic goiter. You can see endemic factor is iodine, reason of pathology, insufficient intake, for example, 150 up to 200 microgram per day, and endemic province. In Azerbaijan is Shaki, Zakatala, Belakan, Lankaran, Pamir, Carpathians, and others. Next, endemic osteoarthritis or ur diseases, strontium rickets. Endemic factor is strontium. Reason of pathology, excessive intake. And endemic province is China, Korea, Tajikistan, and others. Molybdenum gout. Endemic factor is molybdenum. Reason of pathology is excessive intake and endemic province in Monte Hankavan. Endemic caries is endemic factor is fluorine. Reason of pathology is excessive intake and endemic province in Absheron Peninsula. The last is endemic iron deficiency, or other name is anemia. The endemic factor is iron. Reason of pathology excessive intake, and endemic province in Azerbaijan is Absheron Peninsula. What is the soil contamination? Soil contamination is the occurrence of chemical substances and microorganisms. Bacteria, viruses, protozoa, helminths is an undesirable location, time and amount. There has been a rapid rise in the soil pollution over the last 2 decades, which has posed a threat to living beings and the ecosystem as well. Soil pollution is caused by both natural and anthropogenic activities. Former includes volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, tsunamis, etc., while the latter includes metal, trace and heavy metals, chemical and radioactive wastes. The chemical can be grouped into pesticides and allied chemicals, crude petroleum and its derivatives and polymers, plasticizers and other wastes. Radioactive wastes include nuclear power generation wastes and other byproducts released from nuclear technology, medicines and research. These are harmful substances which stay in the ecosystem for long duration, during which they get accumulated and biomagnified, thus concentration potentially toxic to organisms at higher trophic level in the food chain. Most of these chemicals are carcinogenic, teratogenic, and mutagenic in nature. It is therefore crucial to develop tools to assess potential risk of human exposure to pollutants and to decide threshold concentrations in soils in order to protect human health. Monitoring of soil quality is a difficult process because of the scarcity of monitoring variables and other indicators. The alarming situation of the states of soil pollution has forced the scientific community to develop innovative, reproducible strategies, technologies for treating polluting soils. And on this slide you can see soil contaminated by chemical substances, scheduled is pesticides, fertilizers, random, solid and liquid wastes, industrial and household waste, combustion of fuel products. On these slides you can see different pictures of pollution of soil. There are different places of pollution of soil. The chemical substance getting in ground casually with technologic liquid, firm and gaseous waste products. Territory. It is connected to concrete kinds of the industry and, consequently, the certain kinds of chemical pollution. These territories centrally suffer surplus certain chemical substances. For example, in territory of Russia is present about 40 territories which define as artificial biochemical provinces are already taken on the account of aluminum, lead, fluorine, cadmium, waste, bromine, mercury connection, and even beryllium. These substances are included in a biological cycle and naturally do not pass the person. Danger of connections, both the first and the second groups, it is determined by their toxicity, blastomogenic, allergenic, mutagenic, embryogenic, and other kinds of influence that now occurs during pollution of ground by chemical substances. Scientists name chemical attacks of and gradated technological process to the person, harming to an environment and first of all ground the person acts as a suicide. Chemical substances exogenous origin at their accumulation in ground almost completely suppress all biocenosis of soil, prevent processes of autopurification. Already now this chemical pollution of the certain areas, the increased level of diseases of the population. Frequency of ugly illness, anomalies of development, infringement of physical development, and formation of mentality closely coordinated. Pollution of ground inevitably conduct to degradation of an inhabitancy of the person. The estimation of the epidemiological questions concerning soils connected to the finding out of a degree of its pollution by organic substances. It is in the pure, not polluted ground lives not so many activators of infections. Basically, it is activator root infection, tetanus, the gas gangrene, botulism, the Siberian rupture. These are spores of microorganisms and their disputes keep vitality till 25 years. Soil constantly becoming solid by organic substances always contains activators of intestinal infection, dysentery, bilharzia, typhus, which terms of a survival can change from several months till 1.5 years, a polymyelitis till 110 days. The soil plays a specific role of the transmitting helminthiasis, being the intermediate environment of development. Eggs of ascarids can keep vitality to growth of 10 up to 10 years. The soil polluted with organic substances promotes development of the rodents, being source and messengers of activators of especially dangerous infections, furiousness, plague, tularemia. The polluted ground is a favorable place of development of fields, especially synanthropic, the room fly. Presence large quantities of fields is an evident parameter of sanitary trouble since testifies to infringement of terms of removal of firm draws from settlement. Term of development of the fly from larvae up to mature individuals from 10 till 7 days. Besides, fields are very active carriers to activators, first of all intestinal infection. The soul is a natural receiver of all draws of ability to life of the person. About it, hygienist Rubner wrote in the middle of 19th century, the unique place which meeting the requirements by the intended nature for perception of organism draws, the ground is. And in the ground all conditions are given so that due to processes make in various organic substances have turned to the same forms of inorganic connections as which they are necessary nutritious material for plants. The process described Rabner are processes of autopurification of soil, occurring and the action of many factors, physical, chemical, biological, and the action of physical factors, the sun, drying, the significant parts of pathogenic microflora perishes. Other action of chemical compounds factors, for example, oxygen, of oil, of air and ground, occur oxidation of organic substances, fats, carbohydrates, up to carbonic gas and water, and containing nitrogen substances, decaying on amino acids, and being exposed to the subsequent oxidation, nitrifying. The essential role thus is played this microorganism Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacteria. In a result, mineral substances which are occurred by plants and formed. Very important in intensity of process of autopurification of soil, the phenomenon of humidification. As a result of complex interaction of chemical reaction, action mesophilic and thermophilic microorganisms formed the complex organic substance humus, into which structure enter humans, carbohydrates, fats, organic acids, and a lot of carbonaceous connection is formed. Filters of humus will be that is not capable to root and hence cannot become the environment of duplication of microorganisms, first of all pathogenic. Special value in suppression of growth and development of endothelial microflora and its subsequent dying off has action bacteriophages and antibiotics. As a result of this complex process, the soil becomes epidemiologically safe. On these slides you can see factors that accelerate, intensify the autopurification process of soil. The first is mechanical structure and physical properties, soil, air, solar radiation, and others, microbiological antagonism, saprophytic microflora, and etc. And on this slide you can see waste into the soil divided two groups according to the degree of danger. In first group with the risk of toxicological hazards, the second group with the risk of epidemiological hazards. And which risk of toxicological hazards? pesticides, transport waste, industrial waste, and others. And epidemiological hazards is household, livestock, catering, hospital, and others. I suggest you watch another video material about self-purification of soil. On these slides, you can see water in the soil, divided into two groups according to the degree of danger. The first is the risk of toxicological hazards, the next is the risk of epidemiological hazards. What is the risk of toxicological hazards? It's the pesticides, transport wastes, industrial wastes, and others. Next, what is the epidemiological hazards? It's household, livestock, catering, hospitals, and others. And on these slides, you can see complex hygienic estimation of epidemiological risk of soil. You can see table and divided degree of danger, character of soil, the larvae and cocoons in the soil, worm eggs, title Escherichia coli, title Clostridium perfringens, and sanitary member. In the end of lecture, I want count general chemical examination of soil. The first, determination of total quantity of organic substance, determination of total nitrogen in soil, determination of mineral nitrogen containing substance, nitrogen of ammonia and ammonium salts, nitrogen of nitrates, nitrogen of nitrates, determination of sulfates, chlorides, phosphatides, and determination of the maintenance of organic carbon. This is our lecture came to an end. Thank you for attention. Goodbye, student. Good luck.